the track and field in the University of Mindanao. Track and field athletic sports facility are typically utilized for everyday practice as well as hosting regional or local competition. Athletics field are typically multi-use with a 400-meter track inner serving as field for rugby, soccer, and grade run. Additionally, these tracks are utilized for non-sporting occasions, including the concert and public gatherings. The length of runway, landing area dimensions, distance to take off boards, and other parameters may be shortened for clubs and school contests. The sprint, middle distance, hurdle, and steeplechase event are all track events. A multi-sports arena built around a 400-meter oval track, and the size of the track is determined by the needs of the various sports. The 400 standard track contains about equal length straight and curved part as well as the uniform bend, which are best suited to athletics running in rhythm. The track is divided into two semicircles, each having a radius of 36.50 meters. And the two straight lines, each measure had 84.39 meters in length. The track had 8, 6, and occasionally 4 lanes are not utilized for international running competition. 1.22 meter is the width of each line.
Athletic venues. The professional athletic competition almost always take place in either of these venues. We have the stadium, the grass courses, the woodland, and the road-based courses. This venue ensure that all the athletics events take place in the standard manner, improving the safety of the athletes and the enjoyment of the spectators. So the first one, we have a stadium venue. Stadium venue is one of the most venue used for athletics events such as sprint, 4x400 relay, hurdle, middle distance, pole vault, discus or hammer throw, javelin, and many more. Next, we have a cross-country courses. But also, grass courses in woodland is also called or one of the cross-country courses. So this cross-country venue, it is a place of competition and location with long running distance. Cross-country races at the professional and level requires looped track. There must be a minimum of 1,700 meters and a maximum of 2,000 meters in each lap. All courses obstacles are whether they are man-made or natural, such as deep ditches and overground areas, must be overcome on foot. Also, we have a road course. According to the IAAF, mandates that all courses be run over sidewalk, bicycle lanes, or other man-made roadways. During the tournament, the road must be closed to traffic. This competition may begin and end in a track and field stadium. Depending on the locale on the organization, this race may be a looped or conducted from one location to another. The athletes must run between 5 and 10 kilometers. To look after the health of long-distance runner, there are medical personnel on hand at the specific times. So for now, let's talk about what is the stager in athletics. While most of the running events, most of the player, they don't start on the starting line. So in this starting point of outer athletics while running in a curve, so that no athletics is at advantage or disadvantage while running in a different lane. Stager for different lanes are calculated through this kind of formula. So as you can see here in the table, lane number 1 is computed as 0 because the player number 1 or first lane will be started on the first or in the starting line. But from the second line to 8th line, there had a different meters from the starting position of a running events. So now let's talk about the hurdle race stager or the measure of the hurdle. So in hurdle races, obstacle or hurdle are set to which athletes must jump over. Failure may get disqualified. The standard hurdle races are 110 meter for men and 100 meter for women and 400 meter for hurdle. covers one whole over track for both men and women. So as you can see here in the table, this is the height and the distance between of the hurdle from the start until the finish line. In the discus throw, it is a throwing event where athletes throw a metal disc weighing at 2 kg for men or 22 centimeter in a diameter and 1 kilo or 18 centimeter in a diameter for women, as far as possible while running inside a 2.5 meter diameter circle. To measure the valid throw, the discus must land inside a market sector. The athletes must not leave the circle before it has landed, and then only from the rear half of the circle.
Next, we have shot put. Shot put is an athletic field event in which athletics compete by putting a heavy spiral metal ball or shot as far as possible. Each athlete takes 3 attempts out of which the best of the 3 is taken into consideration, and whoever puts the shot farthest is declared as a winner. Javelin throw. It is a throwing event in which athletics throw a metal tripped javelin as far as possible. It requires a combination of strength, power, timing, coordination, and timing. The athlete must hold the javelin by its corded grip with his or her little finger closest into the tip of the implement. The athlete must hold the javelin by its corded grip with his or her little finger closest into the tip of the implement. Javelin must weigh at least 800 grams and be 2.6 meters to 2.7 meters long, while the woman javelin must weigh 600 grams and be 2.2 meters and 2.3 long. Athletes must throw the javelin over the upper part of their throwing arm, and they must not cross the foul line, aka straight line, at any time. The javelin must also land tip first and within the market 29-degree sector. Long jump is one of the field events in which competitors sprint along a runway and jump as far as possible into a sand pit from a wooden takeoff board. The distance traveled from the edge of the board to the closest indentation in the sand to it is then measured. A foul is committed if an athlete steps beyond the board. Long jump event requires speed, explosive power, strength, and agility.
So now let's gonna tackle about what is the different or equipment of the athletics event. So first we have the discus for the discus event. A discus is the most important piece of equipment needed for discus throwers. The discus cannot weigh less than 2 kilo for men, and for women it is 1 kilogram. The discus is traditionally made from wood with a metal around the outside, but the other are made from fiberglass. Surprisingly, the style has changed every little over thousands of years. For beginners, a cheap discus can cost around $30, but for more experienced athletes, the discus can be upward into $400. Next, we have hurdle. Hurdle are basically pieces of equipment that hurdlers have to jump over to complete a race. Hurdles are made of metal in the bottom and wooden or fiberglass on the top. The hurdles are designed to be bottom heavy so that they fall over at even the lightest touch. Old hurdles were designed in a T shape, not the modern, which is the L shape. And when they fell, they will raise up and be more likely to trip you. Our most hurdle races will be 10 hurdles, but for practice, you might only need 1 or 3 hurdles, but to run a full roof race, you'll need 10. Each hurdle will cost about $100 to $500. So now for track and field javelin equipment. Javelin are the main tool for another throwing event. A javelin is basically a long spear that you throw as far as you can. Javelin has been around since in the ancient Greek Olympics. The javelin is made of wood or lightened metal and has a metal tip so it will gonna stick in the ground. Modern javelin will usually have a soft material grip to help you throw it. To be legal for competition, the javelin has to be at least 102 in long and weight at least 1.8 pounds for men. For women, a javelin must be 86 and in 1.3 pounds. You only really need one javelin. So when you buy it anywhere, it costs $200 to $600. So another equipment of athletics events, we have a lamp counters. Lamp counters help officials and runners by telling them how many laps around the track the runner has left. You only need a lap counter for races longer than 400 meters because any shorter race won't have multiple laps to count. A lap counter is usually a flipboard with a number on it, as you can see here in the picture. You fill the numbers down, counting how many laps you have to go. The counter is flipped whenever the person in first place is finished the first lap. You can buy a lap counter with a bell attached to it. However, you can also use a separate bell to ring on the last lap. You can use any number flipper to count down the laps. But if you're going to buy a top of lane lap counter, it will cost up to $650. So just convert it into Philippine money. I don't know. So next we have the track and field marker. Markers are for throwing sports to show where the throw landed. Markers can be made of just about anything. True, for the most part, they're made of a metal. You can use anything as a marker if you're just beginning to throw and don't want to break the bank. As long as it is heavy enough to stay on the ground and not move. It should work. If you want to buy legitimate metal markers, it will cost anywhere from $50 to $200 as a set. Next, we have the measuring tape. Measuring tape can be used for a lot of things in track and field. You can use a measuring tape to mark the distance of a race or to spread out the starting blocks. You can also use a measuring tape to determine the distance of a throwing from the throwing spot to the marker where it landed. Track and field measuring tapes are typically made of fiberglass or steel. You can choose how long you want the maximum on the tape to be, anywhere from 50 feet to 350 feet. Measuring tape will cost you between $20 and $120 depending on the light and the material of a measuring tape. So next we have the track and field race clock. Race clock are what tell time during a track race, both for you as a runner and for the rest of the people in the stadium. Almost all race clocks are digital. Most go down to the second. True Olympic level clocks count down to the hundredth of a seconds. Race clock come with a tripod and a remote to start and stop the clock. You only really need a race clock for a races, as you can just use to stopwatch for practice. A high quality race clock will cost between $1,000 to $2,000. So next we have the track and field shot put. Shot put are far and away the most important piece of equipment if you're going to be a shot putter. A shot put is essentially just a heavy ball that people throw from their shoulder as far as they can. In the Olympic, the regulation shot put is about 16 pounds for men and 8.8 pounds for women. However, shot put come in all kinds of weight for practice. They're usually made of steel or another dense of metal. Next, we have a track and field starting block. Starting block are important if you want to be a short distance track runner. Races that span 800 meters and above don't use starting block, but for runners in 100 meter, 200 meter, and 400 meter races, use starting block. Starting block help you to push off more easily to get running at top speed more quickly. Usually, starting block will provide by the meet but for the practice and for personal use, a set of block is good to have. Starting blocks are typically made of metal and are adjustable. Cost between $80 and $500 for a set. Next, we have the track and field stopwatch. Stopwatch are important because they allow you to accurately capture how fast you run. Most stopwatch are small and digital with buttons to start, stop, and reset the watch. There are more highly tech stopwatch for race officials that come with a printer to print the times of runner while the clock still run. If you want take a track seriously, investing in a stopwatch is important. You can help to improve your running. Track and field stopwatch costs between $20 and $50.